What is up, YouTube? So, as you guys know, I've kind of gotten down to the point where I've only been doing one video a week, and I actually now have a few videos to go up. I have a new building video. Tomorrow will be a new Old School Sunday, so you're going to want to check that out. It's been a while. But tonight we're going to be talking about something that's pretty cool, kind of terrifying. So, as you guys know, I am a sponsored handboarder for Handscape. And I'm also a auto mechanic, welder, electrician. Like, I do kind of any trade that I pick up. And tonight I want to be talking about these. So these are rails that I've been making to sell. And I built the stock, and I was hopeful to have like a full stock going, but as of right now I just have the rails. And the goal is to try to sell them, simply put. And I recently just launched it over on Instagram, and I've sold one so far, and the hopes is to sell a lot more. A lot of other friends and companies have been helping me out, getting the word out there that I'm selling them. And I just want to talk about the construction of them. I want to show them off a little bit more, because in Instagram world, I kind of can't do full in-depth looks at them. So they're made out of 100% steel. So they are an open pipe that you can see down with 3/8 steel legs. The bottoms on them vary slightly. I made a few with 1.5-inch wide feet, and then I started upping them to 2-inch feet, and from now here on out they probably will be 2-inch feet, and they're all welded together. Now I'm going to flip the camera around, and I'm going to show off the welds a little bit more. So pretty much the way these get made is I start with a 1/2-inch piece of conduit. I then cut it down to 15 inches. I then mark out 2 holes and drill holes through them. And then I grab my feet and I cut them down to size, and I drill holes through the center of those. I then take my feet and I insert them down through the center, where I put welds on the bottom side. I then grind those welds down so they're no longer sharp. They are still visual, because if you grind them flat, it does lose a lot of its strength, so there's not much point for me to do that, especially because I put the foam on the bottom. So it doesn't have to be perfectly level. The foam will, keep that from being an issue. Then I drop the pipe on top of the legs, put in 90-degree magnets to hold it at 90 degrees, and I throw my welds in. I then ground my welds flat, so on the edges it will not be a factor at all. And in the end, you're left with a very strong, nice weld. Now, to anybody who buys one, if you look down the barrel of the pipe, you will see that the feet go through the center. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So why do I put them through the pipe? It's a structural thing. It keeps the feet from breaking out and cracking those welds, and hopefully keeping the rail lasting significantly longer. In theory, these pretty much should just last a lifetime. You would really, really have to do some damage to these to actually get them to break. Now, I recently had a guy explain to me that he was thinking about doing the same thing, and we had a little conversation about it. And he kept saying, well, if I do it, I'm going to cap the ends of the rails. Well, every single one of mine is cleaned out of any sharp edges, so it's not a big deal. It's not going to change. And actually, the only thing that might change with capping it is changing the tone, so it's more work. Now, the whole purpose of my rails are, currently right now on the market, there are 3 companies that make obstacles. I'm not going to name names, but let's get into those a little bit. So as of right now, there is one company that produces rails. They produce very, very fine, beautiful quality, but my biggest complaint is they only have tall rails. So when you're a beginner, not the best thing, and they're a little expensive. Now, like I said, the quality is there. They are absolutely beautiful. There is then a second company that also produces rails, and they produce a couple different sizes in that. And the quality is there just as well. As far as I know, they are plastic, but I haven't really heard anybody complain about that. And the prices are just still a little too high. Now, I don't know the cost that these guys are paying. They may be paying $70 and charging $80, and then I completely understand why they're charging more. But I knew how much I can make a rail for because I made a bunch of them. So I knew how much I could sell a rail for. The last company is Chandler. So Chandler makes a good friend of mine, Skater Chan, and he makes incredibly good quality rails, but he is not a metal worker. So I kind of saw like my way in the industry, and I went out of my way to talk to a lot of these guys and make sure that nobody would really have a problem, and I wouldn't be stepping on any toes or anything. So me and Chandler, we have talked building supplies before. He's been guiding me a little bit through taxes and websites and stuff like that. So has a bunch of other companies. So kind of been welcomed with open arms, which is awesome and great. So right now, if you guys wanted to pick up a rail off me, they are currently $30. And that is half of what the next rail from another company is. And that was the whole point. Now, you do pay $12 in shipping, but I'm not the only guy who's charging for shipping. So out the door, didn't matter if you want a short rail or a tall rail, $42 for the rail. If you guys are interested in that, then hit me up. I just wanted to do a more in-depth look about them. And before this video ends, I want to talk about what has taken me so long to start making these rails. So what deterred me? What kept me from doing this a year ago? Because that was the plan. I made a few rails and I sent them to Zyler as testers. He gave one away, like I said to do, and he kept two of them. And he gave me some good feedback, and I was excited. And then I kind of got yelled at work for using the Works welder. And while I knew my boss was kind of bipolar, that he would be fine in a day or two, that deterred me a little while. Then I did the math and I found out, okay, if I buy a welder, I can make money from this. But is my stuff good enough? And I was able to get in my own head and, put that off for a while after. Then I finally decide, okay, let's go get a welder. I seen one on sale. Didn't know how it was going to be, and it's the one I have now. And honestly, it's not the best, but it works very well. From there, I deterred myself even further by having a bunch of failed prototypes. I kept trying to change up from just the traditional flat bar. What other things can we make? And I ended up deterring myself even further, which is a huge bummer. And one of those, what I thought was a failed prototype, I did decide to go ahead and finish, and that was my pole jam rail. And there is a dude in the community for handboarders and that, who is super nice, super great guy. I always see him trying to offer his extra boards to people, sending them to Europe and back and forth. And I really liked his personality. So I said, hey man, do you want to test a few projects for me? And I sent him over that flat bar rail. I sent him over a Wally manual pad, and gave me great reviews, and I guess he was in love with them. So then I sent one to Genesis, same thing. Everyone is like telling me that I'm a decent craftsman, which is weird to hear, even if it is possibly true. And I really want to get into making cool things, because I love doing that, and even getting into making custom things. That's why I made the 3 flat 3 rail. So this right here is something that in the future, hopefully you can order off of me. And we will discuss a price and things like that, or getting into bike racks, stuff like that. As of right now, I do only have these flat bars up for sale, and hopefully I can make a little bit of money off of that to pursue some of these other things. But as always, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I am very excited and very terrified for what the future holds, because I don't know if I'm going to get 1,000 orders and try to fulfill that. But as always, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, guys. Have a great day, and keep pushing forward.